Hello, happy Tuesday. It feels like Monday, but it is Tuesday today. And today we are going to be doing our 5th of 6 Own Your Genius sessions. And we have another room of extraordinary women today. We have Mariah Ehlert of Mariah Ehlert Photography. Her photography is amazing. I can tell you guys, she has done a lot of my photography for me, and she's done a lot of our masterminds photography as well. And she does amazing, amazing work. She's got a beautiful studio in Denver down by Wash Park. And if you're looking for a place to host an event, that's a great place to host an event. It's really special space. It's an old church that's been redone that Mariah has done in just beautiful, beautiful ways. I mean, it's really spectacular. I love your space, Mariah. Meet Mariah Ehlert. I always say your name. I want to say Ehlert.
It's all good. Like, I think everybody in the family, even I say Ehlert. But I know there's some people in the family that say Ehlert too. So
yeah, and it's funny because I have relatives whose last name is Ehlert, but they spell it a little bit different. So that's why I always I think trip on it. Anyway, so that's it's so good to have you here, Mariah. Next, we have Shelley Johnson. Shelley Johnson is a career coach, and she is rocking in Denver right now. She has got clients helping them really find their best career and really step into their best career. She's running a meetup group. She'll be able to tell you all about it. And then we have Beata Seweryn-Reid, and she is a mindset coach, and she works with entrepreneurs to get a hold of all that craziness that goes on in our mind. We all know that mindset is one of the most important things that we can do as entrepreneurs to make sure that we understand this how to take care of our mindset so that we can stay out ahead of it and so that we don't get caught up in our mindset, because that can be the thing that can trip entrepreneurs most often. Mm-hmm. So I am so excited to have all 3 of these women. We are going to start. Pardon?
I said, my honor. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, it's great to have you. So we're going to start with Shelley Johnson today. Shelley actually has to hop off this call a little bit early today because she's got a 10 a.m. Zumba call. She has to go teach a Zumba class, not a Zumba call. She has to go teach a Zumba class at 10 o'clock. So she is going to have to get on the road towards the end of this. And so she'll be dropping off. So we want to start with Shelley today. These have been so much fun. When I think about women raising up their voice, making a difference, stepping up and really going out and in our world, this is such an important space for us to, it's an important time for us to be able to own our gifts. So Shelley, tell us a little bit about your gifts of who you are and how you're serving people right now.
Cami, thanks so much for this opportunity to own my genius and talk with your group about how they can own yours. I know my name is spelled a little weird. It is Shelley. I have been in Denver for about 5 years, and I was a top leader of talent acquisition at Lockheed Martin and Comcast. And in early 2019, I just felt completely empty, disconnected, like someone had literally sucked my soul out of my body. And I was like, who am I? And so I knew that I wanted to do something different. And I'm so grateful that I put my stake in the ground and started Best You Career Advantage in Q4 of 2019. And who knew, right?
Right.
Who knew
that
the pandemic was going to be coming. Mm-hmm. But so I help high-achieving women that feel unfulfilled in their career have career and life abundance. And I've really been able in 2020 to help not just women, but both men and women to find jobs faster, to get out of this monkey mind of I'm a failure, I'm doubting myself, I can't find a job in a pandemic. The truth is, yes, you can. I actually have had 13 clients in the past 2.5 months land jobs.
Oh my gosh.
With an average of 28% increase in pay.
Oh my gosh, Shelley, that's an amazing statistic.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I'm so excited. Talk about lift up your voice. But honestly, what Beata does is a little bit of what I do with mindset and positive intelligence. And I know you recently went through a program of positive intelligence.
I have.
So it's really, really helped me feel connected and truly amplify my resonance, that R factor that you talk about. If people who are in positions that they just feel stuck or disconnected or disassociated or completely disillusioned by not being able to get a promotion or what's next in their career with all of this hybrid model coming, being called back to the office. SHRM just put out, or Society of Human Resource Management just put out an article saying that 30 to 50% of people in jobs are going to be looking at leaving because they are just not feeling satisfied. So I'm so thrilled that I have proven methodologies to help people with that satisfaction in their life.
That's amazing. And so, and just finding the jobs. Let's go back to those 13 people. I'm going to have to hold on one moment.
I think that one's Keenan. Is that Keenan?
I don't know, but we all have dogs. Well, I do at least, and cats.
I was going to be listening to a little dog barking all the way through this hour, and I wasn't going to do that. he got left upstairs, and it was like, wait a minute.
Exactly.
So anyway, sorry about that. So I want to go back to those 13 people. I mean, I think it's such an interesting time to be looking for a job right now, and the fact that they all increased their pay by 28%. That's incredible. What was the secret, one, to them landing in a job as this transformation has been happening in our world, and landing a pay increase alongside of that? What are the secrets on some of that you've taught them?
So the first thing is that you have to be in the right mindset. You have to be able to quiet that judge in your head, that inner critic that's sabotaging and hijacking you. And so I offer positive intelligence program and mental fitness program in pods and in group community where, for example, I start one tomorrow and I have 7 high achieving women from all over the country that are just feeling totally disillusioned. And so it's an 8-week program to kind of get your mindset restructured and changed to approach life differently. That's secret number 1. Yeah. Secret number 2 is that you have to be consistent, and you have to use what is your vision, what are the strategies of that vision, really know your purpose, your clarity. Without that vision and knowing exactly what you're focused on, you're going to be spinning your wheels and kind of throwing a dart at the job search where you have to be very focused. So vision, strategy, and proven tactics that get you in front of hiring leaders and managers, and consistency. A lot of times when, people get rejections, I've actually worked with quite a few bridesmaids or groomsmen that got like second place or second, and it's really getting them in the right mindset to speak their truth and get out of their own way so that they can ask for what they're worth and have that voice of authority, knowledge, and value so that they can truly go after what they want and speak that truth when they're negotiating a pay increase.
Yeah, and I totally get the whole mindset piece is so important as they're up there having these negotiations and having these conversations, positioning themselves as the person to take this role. Because if your mindset is playing games, we start to put off this vibe of am I worthy for this, right? And I think if you can help shift that on the forefront of it before they ever walk into that interview, you're helping them shift the whole presence of who they are. We talk so often in our mastermind, in our community, about the presence of who we are, how we're visible, and that it starts from the inside out, right? And so that's really what you're helping them do. What do people need to know about the job market right now?
Job market is booming, actually. There's so many opportunities out there, even for remote or hybrid. Yeah,
it's such a change, right?
It's such a change. At the high point of unemployment, we had 14.4% unemployment. And now I mean, it is still true that women have been the most affected by the pandemic, and especially BIPOC women or our frontline resources that work in the hospitality, restaurant, et cetera, are really the most impacted. But there are jobs out there. And I want to let people know that people are getting interviews and people are landing positions. So it's really about going back to the 3 V's that you use, Cami, about what's your vision? How are you speaking your voice through interviewing and networking and resume communication? And then what's your visibility out there and what's your brand of who you are? It's not just for entrepreneurs, or it's really can be leveraged in those 3 arenas, or courage, clarity, confidence. There's lots of, triple trifecta statements that you can use, but it really is about going after what you're focused on, knowing how to voice it, and having the visibility to answer the pain points or the growth points of the company.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love such good advice. And so you've also got a meetup group that you are running. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I do. I started Colorado Career Connectors in February of this year, and I bring some of the top talent acquisition leaders in Denver to the table to talk about behind the recruitment curtain. I've had the leader of Ibotta. I've had a senior tech recruiter from Amazon, Health One, and Twilio. But I also bring in experts in networking and emotional communication and empathic communication. And really, it's kind of like brighten up versus burn out. So I would love any of your listeners who really want to be promoted. In fact, we had Nicole Trick-Steinbach on a couple of weeks ago talking about building your brave. And so I partner with really high achievers that want to give back to the community. And we are building that community now. Again, it's called Colorado Career Connectors.
And where can they find out information about that? On your website?
Yeah, there's information on my website about that, but also on the meetup under Colorado Career Connectors. They can email me specifically about it. We are still growing it. It just started in February, but we have over 300 people already. And we average about 40 people per session. And it's every other Monday from noon to 1. So definitely a worthwhile conversation and high value.
That's awesome. I love that it's that consistent. And, that's the kind of consistency you're talking about when being visible and making connections. If you're doing that on a frequent basis. So I'm glad that you're doing it that often and really bringing such amazing experts to the table to help people, because that inspires people. That keeps them growing and thinking bigger and stepping up bigger when you're bringing those kind of experts to the table.
Thank you. I find a lot of people who want to be living a more abundant life and have a more abundant career really want to know, what are recruiters thinking? And that's why I'm trying to bring, through my background, the recruiters from some of the top tech, engineering, and healthcare companies, because those are growth industries where jobs are going to be plentiful.
Right.
So, I do.
And that was where you came out of too, right? I mean, having come out of Lockheed, and that just is, you have such good expertise in that. What are you bringing forward from those years of working, as an HR executive? What are you bringing forward in your work today, and what's a little bit different? Because I know you have a bit of a spiritual side to you. So how are those two pieces melding together?
What a great question, Cami. Thank you. So I am bringing that spiritual side to it. And I believe that the universe has a plan for everyone. And I just put out on LinkedIn a quote by Rumi that when you try to force a solution, it's like a furnace of anxiety. But when you just let life happen, the way that I bring that forward is, if you think about fear versus faith, fear is so prominent in our world today that I choose faith over that fear. And I've had lots of bouts of fear. as an entrepreneur. But when I can truly live in my worth and know my voice and, show my resonance, that faith comes out and people see that and people are attracted to that. So I bring a lot of that to my clients, to where it's kind of like I'm a career therapist, but I am not a psychotherapist. We really get deep and we build this bond of trust. And with over 20 years of HR and talent acquisition experience, I've literally looked at hundreds of thousands of resumes. I have trained over 600 hiring leaders on how to interview the right way. I'm a certified interview coach. I have gone through and done assessments on personality assessments, background check assessments. And so this is my expertise. And now I get to bring that and tie it up in a bow along with positive and fitness and mental fitness, if you will, to flex that muscle of happiness versus joy. Because that spiral that we go in, it's like that runs our brain. I chose to break out and to live more fully. So I hope that brings a little bit of that faith versus fear.
Yeah. And you know what it makes me think about is you're already tracking such good linear statistics of, 13 people landed jobs, 28% higher increase, that sort of thing. The other part of this is the happiness factor. So as you think about people stepping into careers and really being aligned to who they are and setting a vision for the kind of life that they want to create, the kind of work that they want to be in, the kind of role that they want to achieve, there's a happiness factor with that. So you'll have to figure out a way to track some happiness factor in the mix of all those stats, because I think that's really what you bring to people. And I think that's if you get people thinking about careers and that perspective, from that perspective, I think it's beautiful what can unfold.
It's absolutely beautiful what can unfold. I'm very lucky to have several clients who, I was talking with one of my clients last week and she's like, I feel like I'm on a happy drug. Because she was in this toxic work environment where HR was going to her about her boss. And she's like, I just need an exit strategy. So we built an exit strategy for her. She went through my 8-week positive intelligence program. And now she is referring all of her friends, which is great. But she's like, I have an extra skip in my step and a new stride. And she actually got a new job with a very nice increase in pay. And all of her client audits, she's a system analyst and she works with big clients. Her clients love her. Her boss loves her. She's gotten 2 certifications. It's really amazing what can happen. Just one more story. I actually got to work with a battalion Army officer in Afghanistan.
Oh, wow.
He was looked over for a major promotion in the Army, and he's away from his family, 3 kids, and there was a lot of extenuating circumstances for him that he could not control, which is why he was looked over. And so I worked with his wife, and she had great results. And so every other week at 4 a.m, he would get up and talk with me, and going through this program, he got less stress. He was less burnt out, and the impact that had on the troops in Afghanistan. I mean, I can't even make this up. He is now coming home and he's like, I cannot wait to crush it for the next couple of years. And then he's going to be set in a civilian job. So whether it's military or, I really love working with marginalized people and underrepresented. As you know, Cami, I'm really passionate about diversity and inclusion. It just fills me up. And that spirituality and that faith, I get to have faith in myself and I get to give that to other people.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much. I know you're going to have to run it. So I want to close up with you on what one pearl of wisdom would you like to leave with our listeners today?
Act like a kindergartner and hang out with kindergartners. I say this because I have young kids and I got the pleasure of going into my, at the time, 7-year-old class And these kids were just full of wisdom, and they were real, and they were untainted. And I got to play, and I got to move with them. Make sure that you have play and joy and dance and movement in your life to increase that happiness and that resonance. That's my pearl of wisdom.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Well, thank you so much, Shelley. And if somebody, your ideal person that you'd love to work with right now, and where they reach out to you.
So I work with high achieving women who are feeling unfulfilled. I specifically work with high achievers in STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. And they can reach out to me at bestyou@careeradvantage.com or on LinkedIn under that crazy way I spell Shelley, Chelle Johnson on LinkedIn.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome, Shelley. Well, thanks for joining us this morning, and have a great Zumba class as you teach it today. I love that you integrate body. The integrating body into our work is so important. So however we find our somatic ways of being, I'm so thrilled. I know this is your passion. So have fun with that today.
I plan on having a blast.
Okay.
Choose Fitness 10 o'clock if you want to join me for Zumba.
And where's that?
Choose Fitness in Littleton at Bulls. And
That's awesome. Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome.
Take care.
Bye.
Thanks so much. Bye.
Okay. Next, we are going to go to Mariah. Mariah, welcome, and tell us a little bit about you and your work, your beautiful work that I am so passionate about, your photography that you do.
Oh, thanks so much, Cammie. I love being here. These are always so fun. I love how the themes all kind of seem to, of everybody that shows up on each day.
Every group has worked that way. It's just been awesome.
And as Shelley was talking, I'm like, oh my God, that's kind of what I do too, is working with that visibility and that voice. And, specifically working with entrepreneurs and small businesses. And I've seen so many people come in too that either just got a promotion or they were looking for to level up, and they wanted to represent themselves in a very specific way that was more true to who they are versus what the industry expects of them. I'm like, yeah, go Shelley. I think that's just so fantastic. Very exciting.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So tell us about your work and how you work with your clients.
So I'm a portrait photographer, personal branding specifically, and I love the way I work is with using intuition and brain science. I love bringing brain science into it, and a lot of that translates into it's really like, it's nerve-wracking being in front of a camera, and It's hard to show up. It's hard to be like your true authentic self, and then also to does my photographer know who I am? I really want them to know who I am, so that can show through. So
and it can be scary, right? I can think of times. But you make it fun. You totally make it fun.
I try. Yeah. And, it's like bringing that element of playfulness, but also understanding how that stress brain works. And I have a whole education behind that as well. So I'm able to, kind of help calm down the stress, and, I'll be the silly, goofy one in, behind the camera and help you relax. But also it's understanding what your intention is, and how you want to be represented in your photos and in your marketing and in your business, and what what that why is. And that also can help calm that nervous system down too, and using body language to show those intentions and those expressions, so that, there's so many subconscious, automatic impressions that we get just from a quick, pose, and photography is like creating those snapshots in space forever. So understanding how that body language can be translated into those quick little tidbits, and specifically getting them into the marketing space as well. Like, do you have a big program you're launching? What kind of marketing needs do you have? I worked in corporate for over 20 years, and I get it. I get that this is more than just a pretty picture. Like, you have a specific goal in your business and how you want to show up, and is it anything from just needing to populate a brand new website, or are you launching a whole new teaching program? Are you going on a speaking circuit? Are you doing podcasts? What are all these uses that are you're going to need?
Yeah. So I know that over the last couple of years, you've worked with a lot of my clients after they've come through the work of
And
who
you.
are you at your, and me, right? And who are you at your very essence, right? That light that, going through all this work of finding our brand from the inside out. And, when you and I first met several years ago, we spoke the same language. I was just so happy to connect with you because you spoke the same language. When you are working with someone who's done that inner work, that's done the, that light in them, and they're tapped into that. How do you play with that? Can you, I know you've done like days where client after client after client came in and worked with you that had been doing that work. What does that feel like when you've done that?
It's incredible. It's just, being able to see somebody show up and understand that there's this bigger picture, that there's this, they have this larger goal that's outside of themselves that really grounds them and connects them to more of who they are and what their purpose is in life. Mm-hmm. And I can't even tell you, I've actually done some before and after pictures of that. And I don't want to say shocking, but it's significant, the change that happens when people do that inner work and really nail down or, pinpoint into and connect to that spirit in themselves and that spirit of their greater why. Why are you really doing this? I had a client that was just, she was having so much trouble just getting relaxed. All my like regular little tricks and tips weren't helping. And I just stopped her. I was like, your only job right now is to breathe. I will take care of the rest for you. And why are you doing this? Why are you here with me? Why are you working on this business? Like what is the purpose of that? And it just took her a minute and she realized, and everything lit up. Her expression, her whole body just softened into this beautiful, beautiful space. And we were able to get the photos she wanted.
Yeah. And I think this is kind of going into, like, she was probably up in her head again, right? This mindset piece that we've been talking about. And so helping her drop back down into her purpose and what her big why was, she felt a different light inside of herself.
Yeah. That spirit, that like, and very personal, like it's different for everybody, but to just witness that and being able to witness people drop down and ground themselves to, cause it's, like we are who we are here. We're also, part of our purpose and our reason for being in this life, and that's bigger than us. And having those two combine is when I think the magic really happens.
Yeah. So talk to us a little bit about the importance of good branding photography, because, we need to have a base of photography that we can play from. And I pull from my, I love all the ones that you have me doing, like funny faces or those are some of my favorite because they're fun to play with. I did one of those last week and it was about saying, oh, guess what? We're doing an announcement tomorrow. Right. And they're just so fun to pull out of my directories and find the right expression for something. But, there's a whole spectrum of branding photos that we need to have in our portfolio. Talk to us a little bit about that.
I could probably talk about this for the next 3 days straight, because it is so, so important. And I think that's what really distinguishes, a lot of photographers from personal branding photographers specifically, because there are very specific marketing needs. And people always a lot of my clients laugh at me when they're not expecting the the expressions. I call them expressions or directionals. There might be like a more technical term for them, but that's the one I've come up with, where you have the negative space and you're using your hands and you're looking at just nothingness. And I'm not even telling you to look sideways. I'm having you look at a weird direction that doesn't feel right. And everything feels super awkward. But the purpose behind it is for your marketing, because it's lovely to have beautiful pictures of ourselves and to have a nice, profile picture, that's great and super useful, especially on LinkedIn, where people are just going there quick and want to get an idea of what you look like, or, if you're having a networking meeting or something, that's great. But when you get into personal branding and into your marketing needs, then we're going into a different realm where we're going to have like flyers and pamphlets and they're so goofy, and it always feels really awkward when you're doing it. But like you said, they're some of the most useful photos that I take for my clients. And even though my clients laugh at me when I have them do it, and, do surprise, do anger, and I had one, actually Nicole Steinbeck, who Shelley mentioned, she came in and she was fantastic. She's like, I will never use that photo. That's so negative. I said, just wait, just give it a minute and think about it. And we started going through a bunch of ways that she could use it. And she uses it all the time now. Like, were you really thinking that? Were you thinking those negative thoughts about yourself? There's so many messages you can put with all the different expressions. And part of that, or maybe even not even part of that, but all of that could come down to your relatability and how relatable can you be to your client, to your audience. And that's what it really comes down to, is showing your authentic self, showing different sides of yourself, showing that story of your brand, and showing the spirit of yourself in your brand. They're so fun. It's so much fun to get those.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think also on the other side of that is having multiple versions of, or multiple types of photos, even for just your headshot photos, right? So that it's not always the same one, that you have a directory full of them to choose from.
Yeah, it is really important, because it's showing different parts of yourself, and that you're multi-dimensional and not just this one photo from 1996.
Exactly. Exactly. And I mean, I think that's
you're updating it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's really true. Is that you're doing that on a probably almost on an annual basis, that you're updating your photography. Otherwise it gets kind of, if you've got a photo that is from 4 years ago, it's time to update these. We've got the podcast connector class going on right now. And, I've been telling them, you guys need to go get new photos if you haven't had a good one done. I mean, this is, if you're pitching yourself to a lot of different podcasts, or if you're pitching yourself to get on stages, you need to have relevant photos right now that are, that is bringing the best of you forward and really align with your essence.
Yeah. Aligning with your essence, bringing your best self forward, and showing what you want to do. So you mentioned speaking too, which has been a little more tricky, because in my studio, which I just remembered as you were saying this week is the anniversary of the day I bought my church.
Oh, it is. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's been 5 years.
Congratulations.
Thank
So
you.
let's talk about your church and your studio.
Yeah, it's so I used to have, as part of one of my session packages, is people could come in and they could bring in big groups and crowds, and, get those authority shots where they're speaking in front of a crowd, so you could see all the heads, because that automatically tells a viewer that, oh, they know what they're talking about, whatever it is. Like there's just a vulnerability of being in front of a crowd. And if you're willing to do that, you must know what you're talking about. It's like a very quick little subconscious message that gets put forward. But since the pandemic, what we've been doing is we can still do that. We don't need all the heads to show I'm talking to somebody, even if it's using hand gestures and using body language and using that storytelling part of it. So that's been a lot of fun. But yeah, so my studio, it's an old church. It was built in 1896. Your conference was here last year. Yep. It's a multi-use.
We did the virtual conference, but we had the stage, and we were able to film all of Ignite there last year, which was awesome. We've also done Soul Speaks from the stage there. So it's a really great space for anybody. What's the right size group that you hold there?
Probably around 20, I would say.
Okay.
20, 30 is, yeah. Okay. Because it's still small, but yet there's it's really neat to see retreats done here too, because it's kind of really a sacred. Special. It is a sacred space.
Yeah, exactly. I think that it is. I feel the sacred space of it, and the lighting that's there. You have so much natural light, and it's really gorgeous. So, if you guys are in Colorado looking for a retreat space, this is a really special space that Mariah has created. It's absolutely gorgeous, and so check that out. What would you like? Is there what are you working on right now that you're opening up to people to work with you on?
Definitely personal branding sessions, getting a lot of just basic headshots. It's a kind of a nice way to get to know me and how I work as well. Yeah, those are kind of the main things right now.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Mariah. It's great having you here with us today.
Thanks.
Let's step over, and we'll come back to you, and we'll before we wrap up. But let's step over to Beata. Beata, it's so great to have you here today. I love what work you're bringing out into the world and the impact that you're making. Tell us a little bit about your work and how you're working with people.
Thank you, Cami, for having me here. And like you said, you already introduced me. I'm a mindset coach for entrepreneurs. So I'm helping entrepreneurs to break through to the next levels. And it has a lot to do with mindset, yes, and our thinking, because it's where we get stuck most often. So if you're my coach, so you know that I started really with life coaching. And I noticed that it was related to where I was in, like what stage of my life it was. So I was coaching people about life, and I noticed that most of my clients, as soon as we finish our coaching, they become entrepreneurs.
Well, yeah, you know that is exactly the pathway that I started. So I love that. I totally love that, because that was I did the same thing. It's like, and we are so often working in our most important work and going through the discovery of this.
Absolutely. And I was still young entrepreneur, and I noticed that whoever I talked to, a lot of people complained, and I was one of them, not complaining, but I was, wow. When I talk to coaches or some mentors, they always ask me about my actions and what I did or didn't do for my business, and same with the other coaches. And I thought, wow, what if we stop challenging people's actions and start challenging their thinking? Because it's where it all starts. So let's challenge our stories. Let's challenge. And I started challenging. It's what I do with my clients. I challenge their everyday thinking and their stories, their beliefs, their opinions that they often it's not even their opinion, but they just adopted from the surroundings. So it's where I'm working around. It's early stages entrepreneurs that go through change and transition, and they feel lost, and there is a chaos, and they try to figure out. There's doubt, and as you know, doubt kills more dreams than failure ever will. So it's where I am. Let's go.
Yeah. And so when you're working with a young entrepreneur stepping into this space, I mean, I can go back to that time, and I remember all the stuff that was going on in my mind. What do you see happening, and how are you helping them? How do you address that on a day-to-day basis? How do you help them shift up those crazy messages they're telling themselves?
So I think you're going to like it, because I use journaling in my coaching. So journal, I found out I went through coaching through journaling at the beginning, and how I certified as well. And I noticed that the writing is the easiest way for me to get into my client's frame of mind and how they operate on the everyday thinking. And
what kind of questions might you ask?
I do the prompts, but the three, and whoever is listening, I would write it down. I think it's very cool formula that I drag through all my coaching through different prompts, but the three main steps, I call it 3 C's. It's clarity, confidence, and courage. So the first we focus, how did I get here? So there's a clarity area. How did I get here? What is my part in all of this? What is happening? And own it. Take responsibility. It's not always that it's happening to me because the world is bad to me. So this is the main focus. Get clarity why I want to do what I do. And I think Maria, she mentioned purpose. And I believe that we don't find purpose. We grow into purpose. So I help them to grow into their purpose. And then we ask very challenging questions like, why are you willing to go through discomfort of this change? Why are you willing to do all what it takes to achieve your goal? And very often it's scary. Am I really willing to do it? But then it's where the false stories, the limiting beliefs comes, and we just peel it like an onion. And then we go to the confidence. I believe that confidence is about stretching our comfort zone.
Yeah.
So, and we start stretching with our mindset, our thinking that yes, it's possible.
Thinking bigger.
Right. Thinking bigger. I love it. Yeah. Think bigger, dream bigger. So we also touch self-image there, because as we know, we have always two self-images. One is the one that we know deep down about ourselves, and the one that we present to the world because we want to be treated nicely and think that we have value. So we work around that. And then there's courage so I see C plus C equals C. Clarity plus confidence equals courage. Courage to act, because we can be clear on what we want. We can stretch our comfort zones and start doing something. But if we don't really take action, nothing is gonna change.
Yeah, I love this. And I love that you're talking about stretching your purpose, stretching into growing into your purpose.
Right.
I love that. Right. So there's a stretch, growing into your purpose, that you keep stretching yourself in a bigger way, but then you're stretching into your confidence as well. So I think that, as entrepreneurs, every time we take a step into those places of uncomfort, that, I always say we get comfortable being uncomfortable as an entrepreneur.
Absolutely.
And so I really like your model of helping people maneuver through that and think bigger and see bigger and stretch into places where they might not have stretched, because I often find that that's what entrepreneurs do, is they play smaller and they don't grow, right? They don't.
Absolutely. And most of this I don't call it, early stages, not young entrepreneur, because I became entrepreneur in my late 30s, so maybe not that young. But anyway, so the people who just started their businesses, they mostly come from these 9-to-5 jobs or whatever jobs that they were directed by someone. They had the boss and they knew that I have to do it. And then you are in your room by yourself, and you have to motivate yourself. You have to focus. So also I would like to add that journal writing also helps my clients and me as well to focus on the solutions, not on the problems. Because when we write, it's just like we think in pictures, we want it or not. So when we write, we see what is really in the way of us feeling stuck or being afraid of whatever change we are facing.
So as you have your clients journal and then they come back to you, do you help them interpret what was there?
Oh, yes. So this journaling that I do is like kind of speaking journal. My clients journal, and I receive like a message. I read it and I reply. So I challenge right there what they were just writing about. And then we meet once a week for about an hour, and we talk about, okay, tell me more about whatever was challenging in that journal or this week or this last couple of days. So, and this clarity is beautiful, and the transformation that is happening is beautiful. And I just love when they come back and, for example, they say, yesterday my friend, she asked me if I changed my haircut or I did makeup or did facial. I said, why? I don't know. They said that I'm kind of like bright and I look happy. And so I was like, oh, so the change that is really happening, maybe you don't see it, but people can feel energetically.
Absolutely.
When the mind change.
It's really, I think we talked about this earlier, but it's this how you guys are all so aligned, this inside light, right? That we can tap into. And when we tap into this, why are we echoing? so when we tap into that, it can be really powerful. It can be this light of us. And I know that you are you step out in big ways. You are really being bold in so many ways in your business. You're so visible. You've got your crucial, what is your,
meaningful conversations.
Meaningful conversations with Beata. So that is a live that you do how often? Every week?
Yeah, every Tuesday at noon. So today at noon, if anyone wants to join me for my live interview, I interview I'm a change maker. I'm a big way change maker. I love facing changes and figuring out how to turn them in a good way. And so I interview another change makers and the thought leaders, and based on their story, how they impact the world, and how, especially during the last year when we were under lockdown, just like messages of hope and messages of inspiration, raising awareness, and hopefully creating a positive change. It's what the goal of that show is for.
Yeah, awesome. And so you guys will have to go into the notes, the comments, and post your information after this is all done, so that people can find you. Is there anything that you're working on that you want to share with people?
Yeah, I would love to just get to know people and what they are struggling with, maybe. So I just for this this interview, and for you, because I love you, Cami, and maybe there is audience that wants to talk to me too and get to know me. I'll open my calendar for 20 minutes get to know chat, and I would love to, because I'm writing a book as well, and I would use that information for a book. So where are you maybe feeling stuck? What is challenging in your life like right now? Or maybe what makes you happy? So I would love to get to know you.
Cool. And where can people find more about you?
My website, it's beatalifecoaching.com, or I'm on Facebook and Instagram mostly. So you can find me, just Google my name. It's BEATA lifecoaching.com. Awesome. I know that my name is not the easiest to pronounce.
It took me forever, just like Mariah's last name. It's like I eventually get them. I have to make up my tricks that I remember how to say names. But yeah. So yeah, there you go. I love it. And if I'm going to go ahead and give you the space, if one pearl of wisdom that you'd like to leave with our listeners today.
I'm sorry, what was
one pearl of wisdom that you'd like to leave with our...
Oh, okay. So follow your dreams, have courage to follow your dreams, and remember that the best way to predict your future is to create it. Don't wait, The best way to start is to start now with what you have, and don't stop until you get there.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you, Beata. Mariah, tell us where people can learn more about you.
MariahPhotography.com is my website, and I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn.
And your studio is
West Wash Park Sanctuary Studio.
The Sanctuary Studio. That's also on Facebook, right?
Yes. And it has a website, sanctuarystudiodenver.com.
Nice. And what one pearl of wisdom would you like to leave with our listeners today?
I would leave with breathe. Just remember to breathe and lead with your intention in all things, and be courageous. I love that Beata said that. Be courageous, because fear will always be there. But knowing our fear, loving our fear, and using it as a signal that fear means we're doing something different.
I love it. Love it. Well, love all of you guys. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Kelly.
You guys, if you want, we have one more of these. We're going to do our final session on this coming Friday instead of Thursday. So it's Friday at 9 a.m. Mountain Daylight Time. And there'll be our last of the Own Your Genius series. As you can tell, we have an amazing group of women in our community. come be a part of it. We have just, I love my community. I love my clients. And so thanks so much, guys. And we'll see you on Friday. Well, we'll see you before then, but yeah. Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thanks, Cami.
Bye.